You know, there are some numbers in the world that just carry this weight, this mystery, and maybe even a little bit of fear. For centuries, one number has stood out as a symbol of pure evil. But what if its real meaning, the true story, has been hiding in plain sight this whole time? Well, today, we're going to uncover the truth behind the world's most infamous number.
So, let's get right to it. Is 666 really the devil's number? A direct line to the underworld? Or could it be something way more clever, something way more human? Like a secret code, cooked up by people trying to survive under terrifying oppression? That's the big question we're going to crack today.
I mean, we all know the pop culture version, right? You see 666 and your mind probably jumps straight to these things. The Antichrist, satanic rituals, the famous Mark of the Beast. It's pretty much the go-to number for any horror movie or heavy metal album that wants to seem edgy.
Yeah, but to find the real origin story, we've got to put all that stuff aside and go straight to the source. This number first shows up in a really cryptic, super symbolic text written almost 2,000 years ago, the Book of Revelation.
And here it is, the exact verse. Now listen closely, because the text itself gives us this massive clue. It says to calculate the number, and then, bam, it drops this bombshell, for it is the number of a man.
Wait, a man? Not some supernatural force, not a demon, not the devil himself, but a specific, flesh and blood human being. You know, that one line completely flips the script on this whole mystery. We're not hunting for a monster from hell. We're looking for a person from history.
And to figure out who that person was, we have to put ourselves in the shoes of the first century folks who first read Revelation. I mean, they were living under constant threat, so they couldn't just openly badmouth their enemies. Nope. Instead, they used codes, kind of like secret handshakes, to send hidden messages. And that's exactly what 666 is.
The code they used is a practice called gematria. Now, it might sound all complicated and academic, but the idea is actually super simple. In ancient languages like Hebrew and Greek, letters didn't just represent sounds, they also worked as numbers. So here's how it works. You take a name, you find the number value for each letter in that name, and then you just add them all up. Simple as that. This gives you a single number that secretly stands for that name. And back then, this was a common, well-understood thing.
So you see, the author of Revelation wasn't just trying to create some spooky universal symbol of evil for all time. They were using a well-known coding trick to make a very specific, and let's be honest, a very dangerous political statement about a powerful guy they couldn't dare name out loud.
Okay, so we've got our code-breaking tool, gematria. Now it's time to play detective, follow the clues from 2 millennia ago, and finally unmask the man behind the number.
The Book of Revelation gives us a pretty clear profile, right? It's like a checklist. We're looking for someone with huge power, a total tyrant who was famous for his brutal persecution of the early Christian community. And, of course, the big one, his name has to add up to 666.
So let's just ask the question. Back in the first century, when this was all being written, who was the most infamous, most powerful, most tyrannical enemy of the Christians? For the people reading this back then, one name would have immediately jumped into their heads.
And that name fits the profile perfectly, the Roman Emperor Nero. A powerful tyrant? Check. He was the emperor of Rome, basically the most powerful man in their world. A brutal persecutor of Christians? Oh yeah, he was absolutely notorious for it. So, what about the number? Does his name match?
Well, here it is, the final piece of the puzzle. If you take his official title, Nero Caesar, which is just how you'd say Nero Caesar, and you write it out in Hebrew letters, applying the rules of gematria, the total value you get is…
You got it, 666. It's a perfect match. For those early Christians, this wasn't some deep mystery. It was a crystal clear way to identify their greatest enemy.
And this is the most important takeaway. 666 was never meant to be a supernatural hotline to hell. No, it was a secret symbol of political resistance, a way to name their enemy, to condemn his tyranny without getting immediately arrested and executed. So let's just break down what this really means. The number isn't about some vague cosmic evil. It's a coded takedown of a specific real-life tyrant. It's actually a powerful example of using symbols to speak truth to power. It grounds the number's meaning firmly in history, not superstition.
And now, when we go back and read that original quote, it just clicks. It makes perfect sense. This calls for wisdom was literally an invitation to solve a puzzle. And the answer to that puzzle revealed that the beast wasn't a demon at all, but a man, Emperor Nero.
All of this really leaves us with a pretty provocative final thought, doesn't it? The number 666 wasn't a prophecy about some future demon. It was a very real warning about a very present danger. And that makes you wonder, if they used numbers to encode warnings about tyranny back then, what are the signs and symbols we should be trying to decode in our own world today?